Ray now has to plot against the Novak campaign. Bunchy and co. are in Boston, and Mickey, complete with his Boogie Woogie Nights costume, is trying to flee the country via train. Stay tuned as we discuss this week's Season 6, Episode 7 episode of Ray Donovan, the 132.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Everybody, I'm Rachel Goodman, and I'm here with my amazing co-hosts. Go ahead.
Hi, you guys. I'm so happy to be back. I'm Louiza Schreiber.
Hey, you guys. I'm Erica Edwards.
And we have one crazy episode to talk about today. So, let's just get some overall thoughts, you guys. If you want to tell me what you thought of this episode.
Yeah, the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Now we completely see everything that Ray did went down the drain, and now he needs to start over and completely change his ties and basically make someone else a winner.
Yeah.
This whole time that he was fighting against. But also brotherhood. Mm-hmm. This episode was so much about family and sticking together through everything, especially with Bunchy and Terry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my overall thoughts.
Overall, I really liked it. I think that we kind of get the feeling that the season is kind of winding down, so the pressure's on, and I think they did a good job of heightening the tension on everybody, but especially Ray. So,
yeah. And that was how I kind of felt too, is that the tension, it was already there, but now it's like, okay, Ray was coming up against things now that he has to basically undo everything he just did. And the people, the way that they're plotting everyone against each other, we have Ferrati, we have Sam Winslow in the mix, we have the cops, we have
Novak,
the 132. Yeah, so it's kind of getting crazy right now. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to see what they do with the last part of the season.
Yeah, because we're halfway through already.
Yeah,
time flew.
I know.
Crazy,
I can't believe
right?
that. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just dive right in then. We started back up, as the last episode, obviously, Ray had just gotten arrested, and we didn't really know. We knew Danny was there. We didn't know why exactly. We just know that he's been arrested, and the cops begin to interrogate him, basically. What did you guys think of that whole scene and everything with Rad, I think his name was, the lead investigator?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Mac warned Ray and said, leave town.
Yeah.
So I wish he listened to him just a bit, because he could have saved himself from the situation. Because things are already just out of the bag. Ray is kind of confused, but being kind of stubborn as well. So I just wish he listened to Mac and just, did what he was told. But now he's in this situation where he can't get out. Family's involved. Yeah. And everything's a mess.
Yeah.
I think. So it's not, something good to see. I think Ray has been through so much. I wanted this season to have some kind of peacefulness to him, but he's back at it again.
Yeah, very true. I think once Mac told him to, leave town, we kind of knew that this was coming down the pike. So I think it's really interesting how they're really showing a real look at the legal system, the NYPD Blue. I mean, we had the FBI in the seasons past in Los Angeles, but it wasn't quite as, they didn't give you that same sort of gritty, corrupt sort of gangster feel that you're getting in New York, which I really find kind of really interesting to watch.
And for me, I grew up on the East Coast, so in a way, this almost feels more, I don't want to say at home, because obviously I wasn't in the same situation, but I just feel like seeing this from the New York perspective, it's very gritty in a very realistic way, and it almost feels like even the way they're pitting this election and the way they're pitting the candidates against each other and the way that each candidate is doing certain things, it just makes me think, okay, well, this is just a very, it just has a very New York feel, the way that they're handling the season.
Yeah, and just how corrupt it is, like you said, just everything, the elections, the police, everyone just working for each other in different ways. nothing is true. Everything is just so fabricated.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's interesting about how these episodes are written is that it kind of, there's this clear, I feel like, distinction between the earlier seasons, and that to me it's written more like a typical sort of gangster show, or like The Sopranos or whatever. Because if you watch, I mean, I watch a lot of those shows, I've seen a lot of those movies, and yeah, like usually the police are like the biggest gang, and that's kind of how they deal with things, or the biggest mobsters or whatever. And so that is kind of how the writing is coming across, which is really enjoyable and a nice change since they're on the East Coast.
What surprised me too was when they were actually interrogating Ray, the guy was really quick to get out, I guess, the stun gun. I don't really know what that was. The taser,
yeah, that was unnecessary.
Yeah, and the fact that when they talked to Mac, I think it was Danny who told him, hey, like, he's gonna kill Ray if you don't step in and do something. And that's kind of where we see not only that, but kind of the scene right before Mac gets involved in this, we see him talking to Emerson again. Yep. And that's when Emerson starts to get more involved, even with Ray too. Leading up to this, how did you guys feel about Emerson, and what did you think his endgame was, like, up until this point?
Well, he wants to basically catch the main mayor. Yeah, right? That's his whole ideal. That's why he was working with Mac as well. I think it's shady of him to do it, but it's also his job, and I think he hooked Ray in such a way where there's no way he can't go anywhere. He's gonna use him to his advantage. Or I think he's going to do a lot of bad things with his family. Yeah. You know? But he's shady too, but he's doing his job.
Yeah. And he almost, like, as shady as everything is, as shady as every character is in this, there's certain characters, like even Emerson or Mac, who seem less shady, if that makes sense. Less shady than the shadier.
Yeah, and the thing is, starting off with the season, I didn't think Mac would be shady, but the more his unfolding, he's caught in the middle. He doesn't know what to do right now. He wants to save his friend, but now shit's messed up.
And the fact that he never told Ray that he was being wired, that to me was like the ultimate betrayal to his friend. Exactly.
I don't know, I mean, I thought Mac was shady from the beginning, so I'm not that surprised with how it's playing out. I think I'll save some of my comments on Emerson, like, for predictions and stuff, but I mean, I think fundamentally in the way most of things go down, the person's more concerned with their career than they are really, like, with the people. So I don't feel like Mac is going to get off as lightly as he believes just because he's helping him. So you know, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. So we basically had that scene with Emerson and Mac where Emerson gives him the ultimatum of, you either get the evidence I need, or I'm going to read you your rights. You're going to get in trouble. I'm going to reveal who you really are to everyone. So then we get Mac trying to step in and I guess going in to get Ray for, different reasons. One of them being because he's going to need Ray to help him with this. So it's, at first Ray's kind of, it kind of just comes out that Mac's going to have to get Ray to do the exact opposite of what he's been so hard doing. To do. So we're Ray's kind of in this position where he just, he's like, okay, well, like, it's very fast how he just kind of switches over because he knows, like, he's kind of in this hard place where he has to do and I wish they showed Winslow, even though they did talk about her, but now he has to do a lot of stuff to plot against her as well. That's going to be kind of hard too, because they formed some kind of bond already. Well, and as Ray was saying that he would do all of this with Mac, part of me thought he was just lying to Mac and that we were going to see Winslow and we were going to see Ray say, hey, P.S., here's what's happening. How do you want to handle this? Because Emerson even said that his end game was to get Ferrati out of there too, and that Sam would be happy in the end. But it's almost like, okay, well, why is Emerson not just working with Sam? Like, it felt like Ray was the middle guy, and that Emerson should have been like, all right, let's go directly to Sam and let's work something out.
That's right, because they both want him out. They all know he came up on so much money off of the prison and everything. So you're right.
But I don't think Emerson doesn't have any leverage against Sam. He has leverage against Ray for that murder. So I mean, he can't really.
He can't.
Make Sam do anything where he can make Ray do stuff. So I think that is primarily probably why he went to Ray anyway.
Plus, maybe even if he knows about Sam, maybe he doesn't have access to her, or maybe But you would just think that if he did, that he would say, hey, Sam, we want the same thing in the long run. Let's figure out how we can do this together. But
in a perfect world.
Less tension that way. Okay, so meanwhile, after Ray decides he's gonna go through with all this, we see what ends up being one of the hardest parts of the episode, which is him going to Justine and telling her that basically she has to do this interview.
Yep.
That basically admits that she was paid $50,000 to, $50,000 to basically lie and make it look like she was attacked.
And she did all that only for her brother.
Yeah.
So her brother.
Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't really get. Like, he was already prepared for her pushback, but I was like, this is kind of what your job is. So I don't see why in the beginning she was like, why the hell would I do that? Because he'll just pay you to do something else. I don't see why she made such a big deal out of it anyway. I mean, he was prepared for her pushback, but I was like,
yeah,
he paid you $50,000 to pretend to be raped. Now all you gotta do is say you pretended to be raped. I didn't really see why she had sudden allegiance to Anita.
The only reason why I would think that Justine would have a problem with it is because it makes her the face. She already kind of was because she was the woman attacked and they obviously got video footage of it. But now this makes her the face of the person who came forward and said, oh yeah, I'm part of the bad, like I'm a bad person too because I agreed to take the money and act like this. And so it puts her in a place where
I don't know. I mean, I see your point, but I don't know. I mean, basically she's an escort. So I was like, girl, it's not that deep. Like, I was surprised she pushed back so hard.
I can see that too, but also I think Lena's involved and Lena's involved and there's kind of like feelings too with her and Justine. So whenever Ray came back home, like she was upset about that too. She was like, oh, I called Justine, this, that. So that relationship's going to be messed up right now as well. Yeah. So maybe that was more of a reservations. But I do agree with you where it's like she is an escort, she got paid. Yeah. You know what this was coming in.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. Don't misunderstand me. I totally agree with, I realized that she was mad when she realized Ray had her brother arrested, which is valid. But to me, I'm like, if Ray asked you to do something and is going to pay and throw you some more money, why wouldn't you just do it?
Yeah.
So the fact that, he even had to be like, well, your brother was just arrested to make her do it. I mean, it was interesting. I thought it was kind of showing how he was applying the same pressure on her that Emerson applied to him, and it just kind of, skyroled or snowballed or whatever. But I was still kind of not clear as to why he needed that with her. Like, this is what she does. He hired her to do kind of messed up stuff twice. Yeah. Why is it like, okay, just say something else? Like, what's what we've been paying you to do the whole time? So now it was interesting that she suddenly was had all these morals or whatever issues she had, but unfortunately that it is going to impact her relationship with Lena.
Maybe she just wanted this to be the end.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
I think she was just ready because she's like, I came here to take care of my brother. I'm doing this few gigs to get some money. Bye. Now she's like reeled back in.
And that's the thing is that I think that she understood what the job was, but I think she, like you said, expected it to be over and her brother to be okay. But then suddenly Ray's like, yep, he's back in jail. And she kind of, assumed, okay, well, yeah, obviously Ray put him back in jail and I have to keep doing this thing and I wanted to be done. And but I completely understand what you guys are saying too, that she should have also known you're going to go down this bad road. You're going to do these things. Yeah, the job can get dirty and you might have to come back and do things you don't agree with. But
exactly.
Yeah. And this is kind of around that same time period too, where Lena comes to get Bridget to make sure she's okay. And then this kind of gets into Mickey territory, but I feel like we could talk about it now, like just chronologically. Yeah. But it was kind of sad to see, obviously Schmitty is still at the apartment. Right. And Mickey shows up as Boogie Woogie Mickey. And
funny. Yeah. Amber's like, Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah. Some old guy from Boogie Nights. And I was like, wow. Yeah, that was Mark Wahlberg? First of all, Mark Wahlberg is not that old.
Or Burt Reynolds.
Yeah,
although I did, he's who I think of when I think of Boogie Nights, though. I forgot Burt Reynolds was even in that movie. So, yeah.
I don't think of either of them for Boogie Nights for some reason. I just think Boogie Nights and I think Disco Balls because I haven't seen either version.
Okay. Yeah. I always think of Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I don't know. Smitty is like such a dunce. I can't. He totally gets on my nerves. I don't know. Do you guys love him? Because I feel like to be a drug dealer, he's like a goofy.
Bridget, you can do better. Come on.
I'm like he's so. I mean, Bridget is slightly irritating as well, but I've known her longer. But Smitty, I'm like, girl.
They're both okay. So Connor, Bridget, and Schmitty, and that's one thing
all of them are annoying,
Yeah,
right? Connor
yeah.
annoys me the most.
Connor, like, when he came back to visit this time, like, real quick, it was like, yeah.
Boy, you gotta respect your father right now.
Like, Connor and Bridget are irritating, but Smitty just seems like a surfer dude lost in New York. Like, he's so goofy and just dumb. And it's like, oh, yeah, let me answer the door. Like, he's just a space cadet. Like, are you smoking your own weed? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you need to leave. And he's acting like he didn't just stomp out a drug dealer and I'm just gonna run and open the door. Like, what?
Yeah.
You just were in this big brawl with these people that you owe like $80K to, and you're just randomly opening the door when she's warning you. Like,
He's careless.
That
Idiot. He's an
really
idiot.
pissed me off. It was like Bridget was like, no, don't open the door. Let me see who it is. Like, are you serious? Don't open
It's
the
like
door.
overly sarcastic, where it's like, is it believable? Is it not? And then he said something like, "Oh, it's not a good time to talk right now." Like when
Some old dude.
I mean, he was
funny.
so goofy. I was like, this is a horror movie from like the 80s. What are you doing right now? Like, you're an idiot. So I don't even see how she's still sleeping with him. I can't.
It was just the
I
whole
wonder how the
thing.
sex is though.
No, he was cooler. Honestly, I hate to be mean, but he was so much cooler when he had cancer. I'm just gonna say that. His haircut was better. He seemed more present.
Yeah,
I don't know.
did.
Like, now he's just a space cadet.
But now he's coming back to his roots, where it's like when he had cancer, he was like the victim. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, I feel better."
Yeah.
Now that he's technically out of the woods, the real like drug dealer type of guy is coming back.
And he's not even. That's the problem. You're not. I don't see how your goofy ass could be a drug dealer. Like, how are you so spacey and answering doors and you don't know what you're gonna do and you have the money for the drugs, but you haven't sold them yet. They're in a cookie jar. Like, he's the worst drug dealer ever.
When Mickey showed up and he was just glaring at him through the door, so obviously Mickey has not met this kid. I'm thinking Mickey's there for another reason, that he was obviously there for Bridget, but maybe something else too.
Right.
And I'm thinking that Mickey wants some kind of like revenge or payback for whatever reason, and that he's going to be there with a gun, and then this was the end of Schmitty. I thought that this. I was like, oh nope, he's
Well,
going to
that would've
die.
been fun.
Let me
That would've been
answer the
interesting.
door. And I thought that he was going to be dead. So I was surprised when he didn't do that, and that it turned out completely differently, and Mickey kind of acted more like a grandfatherly figure.
See, I never would have thought that, because Mickey, when it came to Bridget and Connor, he's always been like that. They're like the loves. And I was surprised Bridget was so stank to him, because they're usually, even though they know he's like a horrible fugitive and criminal,
a fugitive. Don't
they've
love him.
always loved him.
Yeah.
So Bridget is like anti everybody, I guess.
Well, and that's what I've noticed with Bridget, especially this season, last season too, but especially this one, even like, and we'll get to it shortly too with Ray, but even like she just seems to not want to deal with anyone in her family anymore. And even she doesn't want Schmitty to be entangled with them. She doesn't want to be entangled with, kind of Terry still, but
she should remove herself. She even said to Ray, where can I go? I want to be away from this.
How many miles?
She can't live a normal life.
Yeah.
And I think closest to normal maybe it is Schmitty, but also that's because he has a tie with, her mother that passed. So it's like, when she wakes up, I think that she'll realize why he was there. But I think Mickey just want to be a grandfather and say his goodbye, because he knows something's up. Like, he is just so messed up now.
And that's kind of, it almost makes me think that this will be his last season too. And I know that kind of gets into prediction territory, but just to say it right now, like I feel like they're trying to kind of build that up so that we know that, this might be his last season with us. So
Maybe.
Just to kind of wrap up the Ray storyline though, so it kind of all boils down to we end up seeing Mac, and it looked like he was talking to Rad again, the same cop from earlier. I could be wrong on that. But basically, it turns out that, so they do this whole thing with Justine. Justine comes on and admits she was the one who lied about all this, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't real. And then after Ray does that, it turns out it's not good enough, that they need to not only have her say that, but they need her to blame Sam Winslow. And that's where it ends with him before some random guy shows up in the apartment.
And then, punches Ray.
Yeah. So that's kind of that's where, I mean, I think it would have gone down badly anyway, even if this wasn't the ultimatum of, yeah, not a request, you need to incriminate Winslow, like that's where we're going with this next.
Right.
But now it's really going to go down because we know how big of a powerhouse she is.
Huge.
Yeah.
And the thing that I had an issue with really was there's all this stuff going on. You just barely saved your daughter from the police and all this stuff. And like now you go on a bender. Like, I mean, Ray has done that in seasons past too.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like if you're like a borderline gangster, you can't just like get drunk and pass out and think
That's why he's Ray
are gonna
Donovan, because
go.
that's his downfall, where he's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I mean, I get that you're Irish and you drink, but like, when the pressure's on, drink next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your shit together and then drink.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a couple of comments in the chat, and then we can move on.
And
so,
do our live read too.
Yeah, definitely. So Brandon's here. I know
Hi,
you mentioned him
Brandon.
before.
Yay, you made it.
Brandon Mason, now we're on track. Yes, we are. Frank S., I was mad at Ray for ruining the plan. Ray was a traitor for those he was working with. He has been beat up more in New York City than he ever did in LA. Frank also says, I live in New York City, just another day in New York.
So funny. I want to go to New York.
Yeah.
I
I've
want to
never
go to
been.
New York too. I've been.
I've never been.
And then we have Brandon again. I always knew Mac would be a problem. Utk was Mac wearing a wire even when he wasn't in uniform. I thought it was just attached to his badge, but anywhere he went with the badge, it would have been.
Not to mention
Totally.
they did tap his phone anyway. So
Yeah.
any conversation, I mean, which is I think why he was starting to leave. He didn't leave a detailed message for Ray because his phone is tapped.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have other wires planted on him that he might not even know about, like in his car and other places, I would assume.
And then a couple more comments, and then we'll move on here. Brandon Mason, Bridget does not like her family at all, tolerates them at best. And then Hubby Joe says, you almost feel bad for Mickey. He feels alone. And then Brandon says, hey, Louisa. So let's go ahead and get to our announcement.
Yes. Okay. So, hey, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you will help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we will thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Awesome. Yeah. So go ahead and like and subscribe. We will definitely give you a shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, we're also on Spotify,
iTunes,
and all that other stuff. If
Yeah.
you'd rather do audio.
We are
Anything.
a buffet for TV. Whatever you like, we cater. Just click that button.
Yeah. So let's go
Yes,
ahead.
to
Speaking
Boston.
Bunchy and
Yep.
Boston, and pretty much like I mean, it was kind of just a lot of kind of intercutting between this and the Ray storyline. But
Right.
basically, what we saw was just that they went up to Boston together. And before the fight breaks out, we just saw a lot of like brotherly bonding, and they were going up to go see their mom and their sister. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this episode for me was Bunchy's best performance.
Oh,
I think
God,
how,
yeah.
he went to church and kneeled down and literally said, you did so much to me, literally. And he was remembering his rape with the priests.
Here's the thing with Bunchy is that you feel, of all the brothers, I feel the worst for him because of what he went through. And I know they all went through it, but Bunchy, just the way that, you can see and, just the way that it comes across.
Oh, yeah.
The way that the characters played, too. You can feel that this is a man who, I don't want to say the word stunted because I don't know of a better word though, but I guess stunted because of what's happened to him, and that he just, it's hard, and it's understandably hard that he won't be able to ever really get over what's happened to him. But just seeing him get down and say, you know, hey, like, why did you do this to me? Because how does a young kid navigate the rest of their life after they go through something like that?
Yeah, and he was so detailed too, saying how it happened in the car and in his room and everything. And then they always bring that up, kind of like a flashback, but also that's because where he is in his life right now is because of those issues he didn't deal with.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way the storylines kind of go is that they all sort of deal with the same, you know, this issue of this abuse in different ways. So, because I recall, I'm not sure, but if the people out there know, let me know. I thought that Terry kind of fought the priest off. So Terry actually did not get molested, but Ray
definitely
and Bunchy did.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think that's what's so interesting is because Ray is clearly the stronger out of all the children, and Bunchy is clearly the weakest, but that's kind of how they dealt with the same abuse.
Well, and it's interesting because especially last season when we saw the flashback through Ray's point of view, and we saw not only that, but how he was coping with death and just everything that was going on in his life. And we just see that it's almost like, Ray is, he's outwardly the strongest, but I feel like if going internally nuclear is a term, if not, I just made it up. But I feel like that's kind of like there's no explosion, but like he just takes everything in, and maybe on the inside, Ray is not. He's just as strong as anyone else.
Not at
but
all. He's weak on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just hard. But the hard part for him is that he doesn't, like, unlike Bunchy, he comes like he
articulates it. He talks.
He cries about it, and that's great. Like, he actually lets it out in certain ways. Whereas Ray, we don't get that. He's very hardened.
Yeah, I agree, but I do feel like Bunchy sort of, you know, maybe that's the way the character is written. He's allowed this molestation really to sort of debilitate his whole life.
Yeah.
So it's framed who he was as a character. We've never really seen him as strong. Whereas I think the whole reason why Ray became a fixer is because he doesn't ever want to be taken advantage of ever again. Yeah. So now he's gone to the opposite extreme, and then it seems like, you know, and Terry still has his own, you know, I think demons around the whole situation, but he's the one that seems of the three to be the most stable.
And I think even the bar scene, it was like a scene where they just show, even though they're so like different right now in their lives and they've had so much to tackle these past few months, they still come together when needed. And, you know, having Darryl back and saying, hey, you know what, I want to come to Boston too and everything.
Yeah.
But from all of them, I agree, Terry's the one that's most stubborn and selfish with his feelings, where it's like, you're not going to touch me, you're not going to mess with me. And we all know he can literally kill someone with his bare hands.
It was interesting too, while we saw the brothers bonding, we also got an episode with Mickey all alone, and that's kind of the last part of our talk tonight before we get into our special segments. It's just kind of touching on him, and really the biggest thing for me is that he was trying to, I'm guessing he was taking a train, I didn't catch where, I'm assuming Canada, that would be my guess, to get out of the country. He showed his passport. The biggest thing for me, aside from the Boogie Woogie Nights get up, which was hilarious, but aside from that was just how paranoid he kind of was when he bumped into the cop, and it's like he blew everything, and now he's running and he might not get on that train.
Right. I wasn't sure he was going to Canada because they never really said. And
I could be wrong.
And the only reason why I thought he showed his passport was because that's the only passport that he had, the ID he had with, you know, the fake name on it. So I thought that they were deliberately kind of obtuse about that, because personally I wanted him to be going to Boston, to be honest. I was like, it'd be so cool if he's going to Boston. That's really what I thought, especially when he was like looking at the you know, he was starting to freak out, but looking at the family and stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the scene when he went inside the store and said, how much for your outfit? And then the guy noticed that he used to be a swinger back in the day, which I wouldn't think that, you know, Mickey would be a swinger. But
with that wig. Because he had
funny.
The first get up was hilarious,
oh my
too.
God.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, what is this? Like, who decides?
He's so brilliant. And it's just, he's just being himself. And
Yeah.
it's just, I hope this won't be the last season with him.
Yeah, because he's such a quirky villain. Well, not even, I don't want to say villain, but like a quirky bad guy. Let's put it that way.
But he was overly paranoid. He shouldn't have punched that cop because the cop was just, it wasn't on purpose. He was saying, hey, I'm sorry. He could have went with it, but he had to just do everything on the stairs, push the other guy down. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and now
so
it's like we don't know what's going to happen to him, if he's going to get on that train or what. I think this is a good place for us to segue into our quote segment.
Yes.
Alrighty.
My favorite.
Yeah. So for the quotes, did you guys want to list what you thought were the great quotes of today?
Okay, so my favorite was by Mickey, and you guys don't judge me, but it was just so funny. It was in that scene when he wanted to buy that guy's outfit, and then like the guy said, "Oh, I know you used to be a swinger and stuff," and then he said, "Well, if there's a the guy had just said, okay, if you whatever, I'm getting too deep, but Mickey said, if there's a tight spot, you get creative."
I loved that.
That was hilarious.
That was
you guys.
amazing.
That was just so funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's for me. That took it home.
My favorite line was when Terry said to Darryl when they were heading, when Darryl was like inviting himself to go with them to Boston, and he was like, "Well, I guess we can bus you in, as in bus in black people to Boston because there's no black people there, and he's their black brother." Yeah, like Boston's really. I mean, and you get that in the episode. That Boston, there's certain areas of Boston that are known to be really racist, and I thought so for several different reasons, and they also took the bus, so I just thought that line was so cool for a lot of different reasons.
And then Darryl's Dodgers hat, hilarious.
Yeah.
Representing LA.
I thought too, the "are we clear," right? This is when he's talking to Justine. "Are we clear?" She says, "You're an asshole." Ray says, "Good," and he walks away.
Love that scene.
Yeah, like good, we're clear.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the other lines I really loved was when it was like the very end of the whole Mac storyline where the cop is talking to him and he goes, "Ferrari wants the hooker named Sam Winslow as the person who paid her." Mac says, "Can we get Ray to do it?" The guy, and incriminate Winslow. And then Mac says, "I'm going to ask." And then the cop goes, "Mac, let me be clear. This is not a request. This is an order."
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that writing.
One more I want to add in when they're at the graveyard, and then Terry just decides to state this fun fact about people dying and how toenails and fingernails still grow after you're dead.
That's right. Yeah.
It was interesting how random that fact was. I'm sure there was a reason why he said it, but that was like, huh.
I took it as it was, he was trying to basically say, even when bad things happen and you feel like you're dead on the inside, life continues.
Oh,
that's how I took it.
externally.
Because Bunchy was going through that crisis of, I need to turn myself in. I don't have anything left. What do I have? The other thing that's interesting to note is when he was on the altar and he was bowing down and saying, "Just show me a sign." At the end of it, Terry comes over and puts a hand on him. Yeah. So I felt like that's why the nails line was written in.
And Bunchy was so explicit in that scene because he was looking at the cross and he's like, "You literally effed me."
Yeah.
And that I don't want to say that word, but it's like, because from his abuse, it was just so deep and raw. And you're right though. So Terry came, put his hand on his shoulder, maybe
at
to
the end
show
of the speech,
brotherly love.
Yeah,
probably.
and here's
then,
his one thing he has.
Yeah, it's his family.
And then the other line, I guess it's not really a line, but the other scene that I thought was really gripping was when they were at the bar and they were about to start fighting, and then Bunchy is like, "Oh, he's my brother too." And then the drunk guy, which I want to say, I have to Google that guy because I want to say he's a comic or someone that I actually know, that guest star. Anyway, he's like, "Well, this brother isn't." And he started to say the N-word, and then that's right when Bunchy punches him, which was like so funny, perfect timing. The punch right when he was about to say the N-word was great.
Everything's golden.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites.
So why don't we go ahead and get to our predictions?
Yes. Ooh.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
Oh gosh.
All right. So
You want to go first?
Well, so I think a couple things. So with Mickey, I think, honestly, eventually, Mickey, because he picked up that paper and he's sort of on the run or whatever. I think at the end of the day, I don't think Mickey is going to go off into the sunset. I think he's going to turn himself in eventually at the end of the season or whatever. And because I think that'll be the one way to save Bunchy. Because I think if he just goes and is like, oh, I just walked away by myself, then Bunchy wouldn't have to do any jail time. So I'm thinking that that's kind of what might happen to save Bunchy. For Bunchy, I think he did get his sign and he saw Sandy. Yay. I think they will probably catch her.
Oh,
I think she got rid of most of that money. She probably drunk it all or got robbed
But that was
herself.
a lot of money. How could she get rid of it that fast?
I know. I don't know. She was still in
ways.
that hoopty crazy car. She might have lost that money herself. So I'm not convinced that they'll actually get the money, but I think he will eventually catch her, or they'll, her car will break down, or maybe she'll just stop when she sees him in the rear view. I don't know, but I do think she's gonna catch him. So what will be interesting, I think, what was kind of drawn to me about this episode, which happens in all of Ray Donovan episodes really, is that, I kind of felt like, well, yeah, if you had talked to Sam, maybe you all could have come up with something together. Where it's like, I know Ray is like super creative with all his schemes and plans and stuff, but maybe if you talk to someone, you could come out a way where everybody wins. So I think what'll be interesting is that Sam is like a gangster in her own right. So I definitely, obviously, she sent that random man to punch him in the face, I believe. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how Ray will pull out everything. I think he will get her the prison eventually, but their relationship will be over.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think that's all I have.
I mean, when I saw Bunchy, when Bunchy saw Sandy, I'm like, oh my God, no way. I hope he's careful. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid, because I want him to find out where that money went. Maybe she did stash it or spend it, but I feel like he might contact Mickey. I have this feeling that that's not over yet. He might contact Ray, but at the same time, that money was already traced.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's gonna come back to us somehow.
Yeah.
They don't just let that go. We're gonna figure out maybe in a later episode where that money actually is. I don't think Bunchy's gonna turn himself in.
Yeah.
No way. I think their brothers are gonna talk him out of that. But with Ray and Sam Winslow, for now, I don't know which way he's gonna turn, because Sam is so heavy up top and he has so much weight. I just feel like Ray is gonna just go on her side again. It's gonna be hard for him to just fully put her on the back burner and be like, hey, you know what? I have to flip everything that I've done for you.
So I agree with that, and I think with Ray too, he always does he will always do things that surprise us. So I don't know what side he's on right now. I kind of am leaning toward him being on Sam's side. There's too much at stake with her.
Totally.
And that we think right now, that he's setting this up so that, the campaign that the election is going to fail for her, for Anita, but I feel like there's something else that he hasn't done yet that's going to surprise us all. And then with Bunchy, I don't think he's going to turn himself in. I think that, my guess would be that he's going to follow that car, and then when she stops, I'm assuming there's a stop sign. I have a feeling she's going to stop, and he's going to, go into the car and, refuse to leave until she actually talks to him. I don't think the money's there anymore. I bet that she either spent it, lost it, it got stolen from her. I have a feeling it's not there with her. And then Mickey, I don't think he's going to go off into the sunset. I don't think he's going to escape. I have a feeling he's going to be in the U.S. if he's still on the show.
Let's hope.
I have feelings that maybe this is his last season, but if it isn't, I think that they're going to find another way to keep him here without him going back to jail.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I also feel like with Sandy, I feel like maybe she donated some of the money to church. I have this really weird feeling. Because, they saw her by the church in Boston. Something was fishy. She has all these pastor gowns in her house and everything, like priest stuff. So, so we'll have to wait. But there is an episode next week, right?
There is an episode next week. So,
yes.
Speaking of, we will be back. I think that about wraps up everything for us. Where can we find you guys?
You had some news, right?
I have, basically the news I have is...
Yes, we won't leave without some tea for you guys.
It's okay. So this is from CLive.com. It was a family in Long Island in New York. They it was basically discussing how their home got used for the set.
Okay.
We talked about that last
We did
week.
talk about that.
Oh, okay.
so we're good.
The cop family.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then this is just rehashing.
But you can
Cool. Well,
You have to
yeah.
say it,
It's
doesn't matter.
the Pandolfis in their home
Yes.
as a typical middle class family from the South Shore. So cool. That was my news.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, where can we find you guys?
Such a fun show, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Louisa Shaw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Louisa Shaw. I'm also on the Will and Grace After Show Thursday nights at 7 p.m.
What's up, party people? I'm Erica Edwards. You can follow me on all of my social media at Erica, E-R-I-K-A-D as in door, Edwards. You can find me, excuse me, I didn't mean to snort. You can find me.
Great way to end.
I know, right? That's a great classic ending for Erica Edwards.
That should be your reel.
I know, right? It will be. You can find me tonight for Real Housewives of Atlanta at 9 p.m. or on Wednesdays for Real Housewives of Dallas for the finale this Wednesday, also at 8 p.m. here on AfterBuzz.
Awesome. Thank you guys. And I am Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rachel Goodman. I am also on the AfterBuzz Young and the Restless panel, which tapes on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you watch Outlander, I am on that AfterBuzz panel after this. So go ahead and hop on over there, and I'll see you there.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys. See you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.